It's 2 o'clock.
Okay, 2 o'clock. All right, so welcome everybody. Christian Boyce once again coming to you live in the dining room, kitchen behind me. Clean, no dishes to put away. All right, I did well this time. So today we're going to talk more about the iPhone, and today it's about Siri. So there is Siri on the Mac, on the newer versions of the Mac operating system. So some of the things you learned today will work there too, but we're going to focus on the iPhone, and you can see if you can transfer that stuff to the Mac. So as usual, we have the handmade, custom-made handout for you. Hope you got one. If not, if you go to my website after class today and print this out, everything that we do today is on the handout. So I have a big list of Siri requests, and we're going to go through all of them. So let's just get started. First thing I want to show you with Siri is the settings. We want to get your settings right for Siri. So when you go to the settings, because here's their basic settings, and I'm just going to scroll up here to Siri and search. Really pretty simple stuff. We want you to do the first one where it says, "Hey Siri." Now I'm afraid to do that because all my devices want to listen when I do that. But "Hey Siri" is great because then it's hands-free. Okay, so you don't have to be holding the phone in your hand. On this phone, this is an iPhone 8 Plus, and this phone has a home button. And on phones with a home button, you want to turn on where it says press home for Siri. And on a phone without a home button, like this one, this is an iPhone XS, no home button, you press the side button. So instead of it saying press home for Siri, it'll say press side for Siri. The third option down where it says allow Siri when locked, it means if the screen goes dark, that's when it's locked. You can still use Siri, which is great. All right, next thing we want to look at, language is up to you. If you change languages, any of the training that you've done will have to get done again. Okay, you'll have to go through the original setup stuff that you do with Siri, where you have to say a couple of phrases. Let's look at the voice. This is what I want to do. Now, right now, my voice here is set to be the American female voice, and here's what it sounds like. Let's touch it.
I'm Siri, your virtual assistant.
Okay, that's Siri. However, you can switch.
I'm Siri, your virtual assistant.
Up to you. Now, when you make that switch the first time, it may have to download the voice because it's a big file, and they don't want to put it on your phone and take up space unless it's necessary. So feel free to experiment, and you have different accents as well, and that's all up to you. Okay, it's strictly up to you. Okay, you do want to have where it says my information, you do want it to know who you are, because then you can say things, you can ask it to give you directions back to your house if you're lost somewhere, or even if you just want driving directions, you can say, give me directions to my house. It needs to know who you are and where your house is. So this is just your card in your address book. Okay, so that's all this is. So you should put your own information into your address book and then indicate that this is your own card. Okay, that is about as far as I want to go in the Siri settings, but it's important to do those things. So let's get started. Now, the first thing I want to do, I'm going to start with something that you really need to know, and that is the built-in Siri cheat sheet. So now the way I'm going to do this, by the way, I'm not going to do a lot of Hey Siri's today, because then we have to wait for it to wake up, and it'll be a little bit quicker if I just press the button and do my Siri that way. So you're not going to hear me saying the magic words too many times. Well, maybe we'll do it once or twice. But one of the things you can do is you can ask Siri to show you what she knows how to do, or he knows how to do. So I'm gonna do it. Show me what you can do. Okay, so here are a whole bunch of things that Siri knows how to do. So I'm going to scroll through here, and you see these are all kinds of things. So you could say up here, they're giving you some ideas. You could working from the top. I could call somebody. It doesn't have to be Brian, and we don't even have to phrase it exactly that way. So if we touch it, you'll see more variations here. So as we work our way down, we're getting more sophisticated. This one about Susan calls Susan on her work phone in case she's got two phones, a home phone and a work phone. If you look at the next one down about calling Nia's mobile on speakerphone, that means that you could hands-free, you could switch to the speakerphone without having to touch it and get on the speakerphone. So there's quite a few options here. So let's just go back, look at some more things. But anytime you want to sort of explore, you can just ask Siri to show you what she can do. So I'm going to show you something else while we're at it. I am going to do one Hey Siri. This is a hands-free. It's hard to tell, but I've got both hands here. Let me get back to, I'll make the screen dark, and I'm going to say, Hey Siri, what time is it?
It's 2:06 p.m.
Okay, 2:06 p.m. Now I'm hoping you can hear Siri talking to you today. I'm going to adjust the volume here so we have a good chance of you hearing it. So when I do this, I'm going to do I want to do one more thing. Hey Siri, what time is it?
It's 2:07 p.m.
Okay, now watch this. I'm going to take my finger here. It's showing me 2:07. I'm going to swipe up, and there's the cheat sheet. So anytime that you want to get to the cheat sheet, just try swiping up, and we'll see what happens. All right, let's do. So now we know there are a whole bunch of things that it can do. Now, one of the other things that Siri can do is it's always improving. So if you gave Siri a try, and it didn't work for you, or if you gave Siri a try and it didn't do enough for you, well, you should keep trying because it's always improved. So here's one. When this phone was first set up with Siri, it certainly didn't know anything about the coronavirus. But one could ask Siri, and I'm going to put my finger on the button. I'm going to hold it here. Do I have the coronavirus?
If you're worried you might have coronavirus, a few questions can help you understand your situation. Ready to begin?
Yes. So hands-free. Yes.
Okay. Do you have any of the following? Fever, dry cough, or trouble breathing?
No. All right, so you can see we can work through this, but see, that's something that was added by Apple behind our backs. We weren't talking about coronaviruses when Siri was first invented. So it's always updated. They're always working on this. So you should keep giving it a try, and you'd be surprised at what they've added. Now, one of the important things that we should do is to learn how to talk with Siri. If you're going to use your finger to click either the home button, like I've been doing, and pressing and holding, or the side button on your iPhone without a home button, if you want Siri to know when to quit listening, then just keep your finger on the button until you're done speaking, and then take your finger off. That's Siri's clue to start processing. If you don't do that, if you press and hold and it goes beep beep, and then you start talking, it doesn't really know when to stop listening. Like there. So if you press and hold it, then when you let go, that's the natural time for it to stop listening and start working. Now, speaking of working, the iPhone needs to know how to get to the internet. So if you don't have an internet connection, like if you're in airplane mode, it's not going to work. Okay, it has to either be on Wi-Fi or it has to be able to connect through the cellular system. So if you don't have that, then it can't do the work. Okay, so let's move on and go through some things. And I apparently do not have the coronavirus because I didn't even pass the first test. So let's look at some of the basic things. So Siri can do sort of general information. So if I do this, how much does an elephant weigh?
The typical weight of an African bush elephant is 4,400 to 13,000 pounds.
Okay, that's interesting. And I'm assuming that you can hear this, right? Well, somebody let me know that you can hear my phone talking to you, right? I hope so. Otherwise, I'm meant to read this stuff out loud. So that's an easy one. Let's do something like this. What's the population of the United States?
As of 2019, the population of United States of America was 328,523.
All right. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Marianne. Everybody. Okay. Let's do another one. What was the population of the United States in 1980?
As of 1980, the population of United States of America was 226,545,805.
I thought it was getting crowded. Okay, so this is that explains it. So let's do something else. I'm not supposed to get these notifications. Sorry. How high is the Eiffel Tower?
The Eiffel Tower is 984 feet tall.
How fast can a person run?
1 moment. The top land speed of a human is about 27.63 miles per hour.
Okay, that's pretty fast. If you were to read this article, you would see down towards the bottom they're talking about Usain Bolt. So that's a fast guy. That's as fast as it gets. Okay, so general information is right there. And again, I just remind you that I'm pressing and holding on this button and then letting go when I'm done asking my question. And on here, you would do the same thing. You would press on the side button, right where my thumb is, press and hold it until you're done asking your question, then let go. Then there's no mistakes. Okay, that really works really well. Let's look at, so general information, just try it. Try asking some general information question like, what's the capital of Peru or something like that, and it'll know. All right, let's look at some things that help you out when you're actually using the phone. Like, let's say you want to get to the sound settings, but you don't remember where they are. Well, I can ask Siri to open them up for me. Open the sound settings. There they are, okay? I didn't have to know that they were really called sounds and haptics. It just knew. You can ask it to open an application. So I'm going to ask it to open the calculator for me. Open the calculator. There's a calculator. All right, so that's nice too. So if you have lots of applications like I do and you're not sure where the one you want is, just ask Siri to open it for you, okay? It's a sure thing. Okay, I want to do something here. This is a demo, very brave demo here, because I'm going to play a song on my iPad. Now I know what the song is because I'm looking at it and I'm pushing the button. But suppose instead of an iPad, I was using the radio, and I heard a song in the car or something. I want to know what this song is. So here I go. I'm going to start playing this song. So I hope you can hear this. What song is this? And Siri got it right. Here's my iPad here, and you can see, indeed, the song was "Walk with You" by Ringo Starr. So that's kind of neat. You hear a song in a commercial on TV, just ask Siri to, what song is that? Okay. Now here's an interesting one. Turn on the flashlight.
It's on.
It sure is. Turn it off. Turn it off.
It's off.
Forgot to push the button. That's my fault. So that illustrates a new thing that we didn't know yet. I didn't have to say turn the flashlight off. I could say turn it off. So Siri knows what it referred to. So let's try that again. I'll remember to push the button this time. But I can actually do it hands-free. So let's just do this. Hey, Siri, turn on the flashlight. Sorry.
It's on.
Yeah, great. This is on. Hey, Siri, turn it off.
It's off.
Okay, amazing. So let's do another one. What's my elevation?
It appears you're at 98 feet.
Okay, now this is not super duper accurate. You would expect if I stood up that it would give me a different number. There's a barometer in the phone, and it roughly knows how far up you are. Still, I'm close to 98 feet up, so we'll leave it at that. Okay, let's do a little math. What's 15% of 29?
The answer is 4.35.
Okay, so this would come in handy if you were looking to figure out a tip on a lunch where the service was just okay. All right. So, of course, you can do it other ways. I could have told it to show me the calculator. I could have typed it in. All right, let's do another one. Okay, so we're going to do some fun stuff now. Well, not yet. We're going to do some fun stuff in just a minute. How many appointments did I have yesterday?
You had 7 appointments yesterday.
Holy cow. No wonder I'm tired. Let's do, now we'll have some fun. Okay, so there's a suggestion has been made that I ask Siri about the meaning of life. Let's see what I can get here. What's the meaning of life?
Just a moment.
Harder than it looks. May have to ask.
Stand by, please.
Okay, so this is when the internet connection is not quite as good as we want it to be. Here it comes.
The condition that distinguishes animals and plants from inorganic matter, including the capacity for growth, reproduction, functional activity, and continual change preceding death.
Wow. Okay, well that was interesting. So let me ask you, no, watch this. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest one of all?
Snow White? Is that you?
No. Okay. Let's do another one. Let's do, tell me a joke.
Why can't 2 elephants go swimming at the same time? Only one pair of trunks.
Okay, that's nice. Let's look at some more useful things than jokes. Okay, so here's a good one. We're going to ask for directions. Now, sometimes you know where you want to go, and sometimes you don't. Even when you do know where you want to go, you might be interested in knowing how long it would take you to get there. So let's start with finding something near you and then getting directions. So here we go. Give me directions to the nearest gas station.
Which gas station? Tap the one you want.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take this first one here. So I tap that.
Getting directions to World Oil.
Not going to take me very long.
Starting route to World Oil. Head northwest on 9th Street. Then at the roundabout, take the 3rd exit onto Michigan Avenue.
Okay, so you get the idea. So that's handy when you're lost. I'm probably not going to walk to the gas station unless I'm completely out of gas. All right, so let's try something else. I'm going to ask for directions to my mom's house. And now I know how to get to mom's house, right? But I don't know how long it's going to take me to get to mom's house. And when they put the directions up, they show me how long it would take. Okay, so let's try. Give me directions to Darlene Boyce's house.
Getting directions to Darlene Boyce's home.
So you see it's going to be 5 hours and 51 minutes if I left right now. Okay, so I'm going to end that. We'll skip that, but you can see that was kind of nice to know that it would take that much time. So I didn't have to look up the address and type it in and do anything. I just asked, and it just worked. Now we're going to get a little fancier here. Start with something a little bit easy, and then we'll do something fancy. Okay. Set a timer for 3 minutes.
Your timer is set for 3 minutes.
Okay, now this is something I do all the time. Most of the time I do it hands-free. So I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna say, hey Siri, set a timer for 2 minutes. Hands-free.
A timer is already running at 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
No hands.
Would you like to replace it?
Yes.
Okay, your new timer is running for 2 minutes.
So this is my number one use of Hey Siri, because I've done it.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please repeat it?
I just can't say the words. Hey Siri, show the timer.
Here's the timer.
So when your hands are wet, if you're cooking something, your hands are dirty, that's when you can say those magic words that I'm not going to say anymore. One of them starts with hey, and the other one is you know who. It makes a great kitchen timer. All right, so try that. Let's do something a little bit different. When you have an iPhone with an address book, it's nice to be able to refer to people by the relationship that they have with you and not by the person's name. So someone was asking, couldn't I just say, give me directions to mom's house? And yes, I could have, because Siri knows that it's my mom. So I'm gonna tell it here. First, I'm gonna ask for my brother's look for my brother's address book card by name. So I'll say, show me Spencer Boyce's card.
Okay, here's Spencer.
So here's
Boyce.
my brother. Okay, don't call him. Okay, I know you saw his number. Don't call him. But now, if I don't want to call him, I don't want to refer to him as Spencer Boyce anymore. I want to refer to him as my brother. So what I do is this. I tell Siri, Spencer Boyce is my brother.
Okay.
Okay, that's our timer going off. Yes, Siri already knew that because I told her a long time ago. I'm not gonna, can't kid you. I already told Siri that, Darlene Boyce is my mom, Spencer Boyce is my brother. So so that makes it easier when I want to refer to them. I refer to them by the relationship. So now I'm going to say, if they didn't know that Spencer was my brother, then it would have added Spencer. That would have made a note that that's my brother. So from then on, I could ask Siri to. Well, here we go. Hey Siri. Wrong phone. Send an email to my brother.
What's the subject of the email?
How's the new barbecue?
Okay. What would you like the email to say?
Send me some pictures after you cook something new on that barbecue.
Here's your message to Spencer Boyce. Ready to send it?
Yes.
Okay, I'll send it.
So that's nice. Hands-free. Could you can do this. You can do this while the phone is sitting on the table. You can do it while you're in the car. Hands-free, nice and safe. Okay, let's see what else we can do. Let's send a text message. Here we go. So I'm going to use my finger because I don't want to take my chances on, those magic words, the hey and the who, because it's waking up everything in the house here. But so I'm going to use my thumb, but I'm going to say, send a text message to my mom.
What do you want to say?
Hi, Mom! Exclamation point.
Here's your message. Ready to send it?
Yes.
Okay, it's sent.
All right, away it goes. The lazy way to do it. Okay, so now let's do some things that really do all these things are things I use except for maybe finding the weight of an elephant. Almost all of this stuff I've used in real life. Here's what I use all the time. I'm gonna ask Siri to wake me up at a certain time. So I'm actually not going to say 5:30 because I already have that. Oh, hi, Mom. Mom says hi. All right, so it worked. It's nice to have a beautiful assistant, even if she's 5 hours and 51 minutes away. This works. So I'm going to ask Siri to wake me up at 5:15. Okay, here we go. Wake me up at 5:15 a.m.
Your alarm is set for 5:15 a.m.
Okay, that's easy. Okay, but you might want to set it for every day so you can tell it to do that. So I'll do it again. Wake me up at 5:15 every day.
I've set an alarm for 5:15 a.m. starting tomorrow.
Now it's nice that Siri has made the assumption that 5:15 is not 5:15 p.m. because they know I don't sleep in that long. Now when you do this, as you practice with this, you get a giant list of alarm clocks set up. So I'm going to go to the alarm clock. I'll swipe up here, and here's the clocks as we know right there in the control center. If I look at the alarms by touching the alarm clock down the bottom, you'll see I have all of these alarms, and it's sometimes I was taking a nap and I need to wake myself up again. And these are one-timers, but some of them are repeats, like this 5:15 p.m. Well, maybe I did sleep in. But I want to clear this out. And of course I could go through here. I could touch edit up in the top left, and I could start clearing these things out. But that's a mess because I've got a bunch of them. So what one can do is clear them all out by just asking Siri. So I'm going to push the button, and I'm going to hold it. Clear all alarms.
Are you sure you want to delete all your alarms?
Yes.
I deleted all your alarms.
Okay, so now let's just set up one more. I'm gonna do the one I really want. Wake me up at 5 a.m. every day.
Your alarm is set for 5 a.m. starting tomorrow.
Okay, so that's what I want, and I've got it. And if we go back and look, now we see just the one, and somehow the bedtime one is a special one. You can explore that, but the idea with the bedtime one, it has nothing to do with Siri. They're trying to figure out what if you say you need 6 hours of sleep and you're going to go to bed at a certain time, then you can get up at a certain time. So that's the middle button down here in the clock section, but we're going to skip that. So basically I cleaned it up and it's nice. Okay, now I told you before when we asked Siri to show us what she could do, I'll do this again. Show me what you can do. When we looked at the phone, and I remember I showed you this one where it says call Nia's mobile on speakerphone. Well, I'm going to do this, do it live. All right, it might work. So let's do this. I'm gonna ask it to call my mom using the speakerphone. Now, Mom's got 2 phone numbers, so if I was smart, I would tell it which phone number to use, even though you won't see it happen. I'll try it. Call my mom at home using speakerphone.
Calling mom, home on speaker.
There it goes. Okay, I'm gonna hang up. So that's really handy. So obviously I taught Siri who my mom is, and so you should do this too. Is it call your mother? Okay. Let's do some more sort of fact stuff. So Siri's great at sports. If they ever play sports again, you can ask it about who played a certain sport last night. You could ask who played baseball last night. You could ask how did the Dodgers do. You could ask what time do the Lakers play tonight. All of these kinds of questions, and it's great at it. You can even ask what channel is the Laker game on tonight, and it would tell you. It's amazing. But we have to go past tense because there's nothing nothing happening in the present. So I'm going to ask about the Super Bowl. Who won the Super Bowl?
The 49ers were beaten by the Chiefs in the Super Bowl on February 2nd, 2020. The final score was 31-20.
Okay, so strictly they didn't answer my question. My question was who won it, and Siri told me who lost it. But still, the idea is there. We still got the information we need. Okay, now, translation, fantastic. Sometimes you need to ask a question, or you need to say something in another language, a language that you don't know. So I'm going to attempt to buy myself a round-trip ticket to Versailles while I'm in Paris. So I'm going to buy a train ticket. So here I go. I'm going to press the button and hold it. How do you say, I would like a round-trip ticket to Versailles, please, in French?
In French, I would like a round-trip ticket to Versailles, please.
Je voudrais un billet aller-retour à Versailles, s'il vous plaît.
Wow, exactly. So you notice that I have a little play button here. I can play it again.
Je voudrais un billet aller-retour à Versailles, s'il vous plaît.
Yeah. So exactly what I thought it was. Okay, but so you can ask questions about Spanish, French, many other languages. I'll do one more. Does this? Oh, sorry, I forgot to phrase it right. How do you say, does this restaurant have a bathroom in Spanish?
In Spanish, does this restaurant have a bathroom?
¿Tiene este restaurante un baño?
It could come in handy. Okay. So now here comes one, and I know you're all going to think that you're going to get my password here. I'm warning you that I've made a phony password so you can see it. So to demonstrate this, I've messed up my own situation here to make it nice for you. Okay, so watch this. Passwords, passwords, passwords. We all forget our passwords, but the phone is remembering them. As you go to different websites and you type in a password, it remembers. And if you're syncing with iCloud, which you probably are, then passwords that you've put on your Mac have gotten to your phone, and it's great. But then you don't know what they are because they keep getting supplied automatically. So sometimes you need to know. So here I go. I'm going to ask about my Bed Bath & Beyond password. Okay, so I'll just push the button and hold it. What's my Bed Bath & Beyond password? Now, of course, Siri won't let just anyone in without some confirmation. I'll use my thumb on the Touch ID, allegedly. And, oh, they won't show you the password. They won't broadcast it. That's a surprise. Well, I had a password that was this long. I think I made one that was 60 letters long just to throw you off. But anyway, it's too bad that didn't show. That's good for Zoom. They did the right thing. But the fact is that you can do this with your own passwords, and you can look things up and find out what they are. Okay, let's do something else. So let's do this. Well, let me stop for a moment. Question's been asked about sending messages with WhatsApp as opposed to Apple's own messages app. Let's look again at what we can do. I'm going to ask Siri to show me that. Show me what you can do. So as we scroll through here, these are Apple apps, and they're great. But as we go to the end of this, you're going to start seeing apps from other, but that are third-party apps. They're not Apple's apps at all. And there's WhatsApp. So let's look at what they can do with WhatsApp. I'll touch that down at the bottom. And there you are. So you have to refer to it properly. So the key to this the Siri business is knowing what the magic phrasing is. And so in this case, it looks like it's going to be send a WhatsApp message to somebody. So great question, Alan. And someone else has asked about, can we use this in the car with Bluetooth? Sure, no problem. If you're wearing a headset, you can talk to your phone and it'll work whether you're in the car or not. It will, as long as your phone's hooked up to some microphone, it's going to do the Siri stuff. Okay, moving forward, let's do something that's a little tricky. Let's ask it about Easter. Easter always drifting around. Let's figure it out. When is Easter next year?
Easter is on Sunday, April 4th, 2021.
Fantastic. Okay, great stuff. Okay, let's do another one. This is a trick question. When is the 4th of July this year?
It's Saturday, July 4th, 2020.
Knew that one.
Independence Day.
Knew that one. Okay, let's do another one. When's my next appointment?
Your next appointment today is at 4 p.m.
How about that? And I just swiped up there and you saw me get to the Siri cheat sheet again. Yeah, so my next appointment is I've got to call Matt today. So that's it's really nice to know, if you forget, you don't have to bring up your calendar and look. You just ask Siri and Siri will tell you. Well, so Alan's got another question for me. How old will I be in 2025? Well, let's just see here. I'll ask Siri. How old will my brother be in 2025? Ooh.
Spencer Boyce will be 60.
You see, combining stuff here. You see that? So it knows I said my brother, and it knows it's Spencer. Okay. Plenty of time to shop. Okay, so let's do something else. Now, I use Siri a lot to add items to my grocery list. Now, where's the grocery list? Well, the grocery list is in my reminders. So if you look at your reminders app, which is my second row here, here's the reminders. And I made a list. If you go back here, you can make lists. And I made a list that was the grocery list. So you see down at the very bottom right, you can add a list. So I made a list that's called groceries. Okay, here's the groceries. So here's all this stuff I need. So let's see what's on the bottom of the list. And I already have bananas on the grocery list, so we'll add something else. I think cherries are on sale, so I'm gonna ask Siri to remind me to get some cherries. So all I do is I say, add cherries to my grocery list.
Okay, add it.
So what's nice about this is as I read the specials in the advertisement that comes in the mail, if I see something interesting, I just ask Siri to add it to the list. And as I think of something I need, if I need Comet or paper towels or something, I just tell it as the days go by. And when I finally am in the store, I've got the grocery list in my reminders app. Very handy. It seems basically there's no effort at all, as opposed to sitting down and trying to make a grocery list in one sitting. You always forget something, or at least I always forget something. So this way, as soon as I think of something, I ask Siri to add it to my grocery list. Okay. Thank you. I've just learned that Vaughn's has the best prices on cherries at this moment. Okay. Okay, so there are other things you can do with reminders, and Darren has asked me a really good question. You can ask Siri to remind you to do certain things based on location. So I could ask Siri to remind me to call somebody when I leave, quote unquote, this place. So let's say I'm walking into a meeting and I want to remind myself that when I'm leaving that meeting and heading back to my car, I want to remind myself that I want to call somebody at that time. So I can ask Siri to do that, and I'll do it now. Remind me to call Mom when I leave this place.
Done.
So, here's my address. Now you know where I am, so send those cards and letters. So that's easy to do, and it's just going to pop up when I walk away, and it's if I ever walk away. You can also say, when I arrive at a certain place. So what happens a lot for me is I put something in the car to bring to my friend, and then I go to see my friend and I forget that it's in the car. So I can say, remind me. So let's say I have a book, which I do. I have a book that I'm supposed to deliver to my friend Tom. So I could ask Siri to remind me to give Tom the book when I get to Tom's house. And it's going to ask me which Tom, but I can deal with that. So that's a very handy, these location things, really neat. Okay, let's do another one. Oh, now sometimes you need to make the screen brighter. You need to make it dimmer. I can ask it to do that on its own. Now you probably won't see it happen, but you'll see an indicator. Make the screen brighter.
Okay, I made the screen brighter.
And it conveniently puts a slider up there, so I could slide it around and make it more bright or less bright. I can also, of course, I can say dimmer. I'm going to say make it louder.
Okay, media will play louder.
Simple, right? So instead of monkeying around with buttons, I could say louder. So let's say if I were to play some music from my phone and I wanted it to be louder, I could ask Siri hands-free. I could say, hey, Siri, make it louder. So great stuff. Let's say there's a podcast, which there is. There's a podcast I listen to most days. It's called The Daily from the New York Times. And I can just ask it, and I'm going to do it now, play The Daily. Okay, so there's the podcast, The Daily, and it's ready to play. I'm catching up on some. It'll play the one that you're listening to, if that's what you're doing. If you're not listening to one, it'll play today's. Let's do another one. Oh, this is a great one. So we all take a lot of pictures, and when we take these pictures, they are stamped with the location and the date. So Siri can help you find things. So I'm going to ask, I think if you remember from last week, we have 49,000 pictures, I think. I'm going to ask it to find me pictures that I took in a certain place. Show me pictures that I took in Santa Barbara. Looky here. So I'm going to say see all, and here's a bunch of pictures I took in Santa Barbara. This is at the Mission, and they have a chalk festival where they paint they colorize the parking lot with these incredible pictures, and some of them are 3D. And if I was thinking, hey, I want to see this 3D picture, like this one, that's a flat drawing, but if you stand in the right place, it looked 3D, and there it is. That's a real person sitting there cross-legged, but the rest of it's just chalk on the ground. How do they do it? But the point is, I could ask it to find me pictures that I took in Santa Barbara. That really narrowed it down. I should go there more often. Okay, we'll do, let's do another one. I'm going to ask for pictures of deer. Show me pictures of deer. Okay, so here I am, 215 pictures. This is my favorite picture. But, more deer pictures. So these are pictures I took, out of, how many did I have? 215 pictures out of 49,000 and something. And of course, when you do this, you can scroll up a little bit here, and you can see some of the locations where you may have seen them. So I'm pulling up. So, if I wanted to see deer at the Sacramento National Reserve there, the National Wildlife Reserve, I can touch that, and there he is. So really quick way for you to find your pictures. So you've got to try that one. You've just got to try it. I remember, I think last week I showed you that you could use the search by typing, but when you do it by speaking, when the Photos app isn't even open, fantastic. All right, well, let's do one. If I wanted to see pictures of a certain person, well, I'll ask for pictures of my nephew. Okay, let's see here. Show me pictures of my nephew. And here they are. This is there he is a long time ago in the baseball hat, and here he is with Uncle Chris drinking root beers and soda pops and stuff and having barbecue. So really nice to be able to look for people like that. The pictures are not, well, the pictures of my nephew, I told it those are pictures of him. So I went into the people part and did that. And maybe next week we'll talk about photos on the phone and we can learn a little bit more, but it doesn't know who he is unless I tell Siri who he is. All right, so we're gonna rounding for home here. We can ask Siri to show us movies. So I'm gonna ask for a list of Robert De Niro movies. So here I go. Show me a list of Robert De Niro movies.
Here are some Robert De Niro movies.
Okay, that's a pretty big list. Now, this is where I don't have to be too specific. Watch this. I'll say just the action movies.
Here are some Robert De Niro action movies.
Okay, now I'm going to say, you see how many there are. Now I'm going to say just the good ones.
These are the best of them.
Okay, so you see we've narrowed this down quite a bit. And if you did the comedies, the list is shorter when you get to the good ones. So it's interesting that you don't have to keep telling it what exactly you're looking for. You can narrow it down by doing it just the way I wrote it here. That you ask for the list of Robert De Niro movies, then you say just the action ones or just the comedies, and they know that you're talking about the list that you already made. Okay, let's do another one. Now, Siri doesn't know everything, but it knows where to look it up. So if you ask it a question it doesn't know, it'll go out and get you the answer if it can. So here we go. When is the next full moon?
The next full moon will be at 12:12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, Friday, June 5th, 2020.
Okay, so it didn't look like that updated, so I'm going to let me make sure that the phone is changing, because I didn't see that change there. Let me try this again. I'm gonna let's try one more time. Let's see how I can get out of that. I'm going to pause the screen sharing just for a minute, then I'm going to start it again so you can see. Hopefully it'll wake up. Okay. What's the weather like in London today?
The weather's looking good for London, England today. Up to 66 degrees.
Okay, so it's telling me that. I don't know if you're seeing it change on the screen because it doesn't look like it's changing on the screen. I hope it is, but if it didn't, you still know that it worked. We've got a couple more to do. Oh, here's a nice one. What time is it in Paris?
It's 11:51 p.m. in Paris, France.
Wow. Okay, and we're going to do one more. I'm going to ask it about the battery. So, it's on this one, on this phone in the top corner, I see the 100%. On the newer phones, you don't get to see the percentage. There's not room for it up here. So it's nice to know what the percentage is. And I just ask, how's my battery?
Your iPhone is at 100%. Ready to go.
Yeah, so I can see the screen's not changing. I'm going to stop the sharing just for a minute. I'm going to start it again. So now you get just me. Hi, everybody. Let me share that. We'll do that one more time because there were a couple fun things we didn't get to see. You saw the Robert De Niro stuff. And now we're back to the iPhone. Here we go. Let's just do a couple quick ones so get your money's worth here. All right. When's the next full moon?
Here's what I found.
So this is an example of Siri not knowing what the answer was, but it knows where to look. So I could then touch one of these and go. And now here's my full moon calendar. I want to show you one more thing about those Robert De Niro movies. Show me a list of Robert De Niro movies.
Here are some Robert De Niro movies.
Just the comedies.
Here are some Robert De Niro comedy movies.
Just the good ones.
These are the best of the bunch.
Yeah, so it's a much shorter list. Now, these movies, I could do something with these movies. I could, I could touch, and when I do, now here's a chance for me to learn more about the movie, and I can even, as you can see, I can rent it on my Apple TV or buy it, and I can watch a trailer if I want to as well. So it's not just the information; it's all the way down to the video. Okay, so let's see if we can get out of that. Okay, we'll do the weather, and we'll do Paris, and we'll do batteries, and we'll be done. All right, here we go. What's the weather like in London today?
The weather's looking good for London, England today. Up to 66 degrees.
Well, that's nice. What time is it in Paris?
It's 11:54 p.m. in Paris, France.
Okay. What time is it in Paris, Texas?
It's 4:54 p.m. in Paris, Texas.
Okay, so you see that Siri makes the assumption, same with London, that we're talking about, that London, that Paris. But if you need to ask about a different London or a different Paris, you can do it. And finally, let's ask about the battery. How's my battery?
Your iPhone is at 100%. Perfect score.
Well, thank you very much. So now that concludes our presentation. We made it to the end of the list again, and it's not quite 3 o'clock. I'm going to look at our chat if I can find it. My chat window seems to have disappeared. So if you've got a question, put it in the Q&A, and I'll take it from there. If I didn't answer your question today, remember, you can email me, and I'm pretty good at writing you back. So let's, I'll keep it open for just a couple more minutes. See any more questions. I don't think that Siri's going to know where the best price for cherries is in the neighborhood, but I'm going to try. Where's the best place to buy cherries in my neighborhood?
Okay, here's what I found.
Okay, probably not. So there you go. All right, and then Barbara, your question, and Cheryl, your question, I'm going to have to handle by email. They're a little too long for me. Oh, wait, here's some questions. I think I found the questions. Here's the chat. Good. And that was fun. Good. Thank you. Okay. Keep practicing with your dictation with Siri, and you will get better and better and better, and she will get better and better and better too. Okay, any other questions? Email me. That's it. Thanks a million for coming. We do have a class on Thursday, and even though I have not put one in the calendar for next Tuesday, I'm gonna have an iPhone class about photos on the phone. Okay. So besides being able to find photos, we're going to edit photos. We're going to practice, and we're going to get better at it. So that's it. Thank you very much. All right. See you soon, I hope. All right. Stay safe out there. Bye-bye.